Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are playing the early access of the new Ixalan set for the streamer event. Thanks to Wizards, I got a master set that I get to use for the day a bit earlier. So we're going to try out a bunch of new cards in standard best of one against a bunch of other great streamers. The intent is to focus on trying out new cards, not necessarily take the existing best deck, put in one new card and call it a day. But what we're going to try out today is we're going to try to calendar clock someone. So the Millennium Clock is a card that enters with a time counter on it. And whenever you untap one or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters, then you can double the amount of counters on it. And then once you reach 1,000 or more time counters, your opponent loses 1,000 life. So naturally, I think Frank Carson did the math, turn 9 of just tapping, untapping, just normally is what does it. So we're playing it in a blue-white control deck. But we actually have Teferi that Who Slows the Sunset, which can be used to untap the clock and get extra clock doubling activations. So we're going to try that out. Like I said, blue-white control deck. So we have some elements that we've seen in past blue-white control decks. Teferis, Wandering Emperors, as well as Sunfalls. An Irencrag is another good thing to untap for mana. Faithful Mending helps us dig for the clocks, but get rid of the clocks we don't need because they are legendary. Gains us some life. Trying out Experimental Augury proliferates, so it gets to put... It's only one more counter, but it still increases. It works nice with the Sunfall tokens. It works nice with Teferi Planeswalker, but it also works nice with Braided Net. So Braided Net enters the battlefield with 3 net counters on it. You basically remove a counter and then tap target creature. It loses its ability. So its activated abilities can't be activated for as long as it remains tapped. And then you can craft with Artifact. So you can sacrifice another artifact along with this. And then it flips into Braided Kupu. 3 mana, you draw a card for each artifact you control, then put it into your library third from the top, so it kind of resets it. So I want to try this out. There's also a couple other cards I want to just see how they play out. Most notably, Get Lost, probably one of the most hyped removal, along with the Molten Collapse, the new Rakdos Dreadbore style card. So Get Lost, 2 mana instant, destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens, which are basically a mana and target creature explores. Looks at top card of their library. If it's a land, they can put it in their hand. If it's a non-creature, they can choose to put it in their graveyard, and they put a counter on a creature. There's also Spring-Loaded Sawblades. So it's an artifact. 2 mana flash comes into play, deals 5 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. Then we can craft it into a vehicle that can be animated by tapping 2 untapped artifacts. So kind of an alt-win condition if we need. We have Market Gnome, 1 mana. So it's a wall early, and then when it dies, we gain a life and draw a card. Or we can use it as a target for the crafts, and then we also gain a life and draw card. This deck also got access to Restless Anchorage, one of the creature lands, so 3 mana becomes a 2/3 flyer. When it attacks, we create a map token. Got some Myrex in the mana base as well. So we are going to be playing Pseudo Fun Police, but also seeing how this plays out. So Dinosaurs should already be up on YouTube by the time you catch this. We'll be doing a bunch of different decks. If you're looking for the meta breakdown, what we're kind of known for on the channel, looking at the best decks each week for each of the formats. The set usually releases on Tuesday. By Thursday or Friday, based on availability of data, I will be able to get out first looks at that time. All right, well, we got it. It's happening, folks. It's happening. We can go Augury here. Just try to set up. We can also just double, but doing the Augury helps speed things up a little. Okay, so they are Grixis Vampires. Well, I think I'm just going to take the land here. And we'll set that up. Market Gnomes isn't too bad. Gives us a blocker here. Lets us just draw a card, and then we can start doubling up counters. As much, I just want to take every turn to double up on counters. I think we're probably... Like, Liliana can definitely threaten us, so... I'm gonna... Interesting. Because, like, I can get lost now, or I can double up. probably better to just get lost it. I just don't want to discard cards.
It's no fun when they hit back.
So, Gnome kind of doing its thing there. Like Liliana would have come up discarded there, but it soaked up a removal, gained us some life. Okay, so I don't really care about Sheoldred here. Obviously. I'm actually going to do this. I gain the life. Let's set an end step. So the thing is, you want to tap all your mana because you get the extra triggers here. So take some damage, but Sunfall comes down here. So far, opponent's not played any new cards other than the Cavern of Souls. Okay, that's a good start. Kind of digging. These require a creature, so I think they're much worse than clues. Now we have access. So they show Sheoldred on top, so we're definitely going to want to wait for the turn. So Teferi here.
Just as delightful as speeding things up.
Unfortunately, like, these being tap lines kind of sucks because I don't get the activation. But we'll see what they do here. They could technically kill my Teferi, so we'll probably just end up activating this. Okay, so they Sheoldred here. I think if that's the line, we just take the damage. Because I don't actually care about ulting Teferi. I'd rather double up on the counters here. So if I 1-2 and then I untap the land, it works still. So we go up here, tap you, do you. So I could actually spring load here, kill the Sheoldred, and then get another activation. So I think at this point, it's probably still worth blocking because Teferi gets us an extra activation. So they can pay 3 life, so they destroy Teferi, so that's fine. We'll take the damage here. And then just double up on the counter. We also have these lines that can just hopefully soak up some damage, which works out pretty nice. So remember, you want to tap all your mana. Okay, so Liliana comes down, but opponent decides Liliana's not the manner. It's going to be too slow, and I can still just choose to keep my clock around. So that takes us up now to 220. Clock's ticking. Augury's not bad. We do have access to Myrex. Probably just take that. Last turn. I don't think like 1-for-1ing right now with the Blood Tide's worth it. So we can do this. I should have let them loot first. They could have a removal spell, which they do. That's 7 damage coming through. I think I just want to soak up some damage here. So at this point, unfortunately, I do think, just from a damage perspective, I gotta take out this Myrex. Because I need to start doubling this. We're like 2 turns off. Maybe should have doubled it. We were probably okay, but there was a big chunk coming in. I was hoping to double block. Now we're a little soft to another Shieldred.
When I win, you're telling me what you know about Mythic.
Okay, so we're 2 untaps away.
Won't be outsmarting me.
So I could crew 1, I could kill Liliana. Doesn't really do much, so play the land, say go. Blood Tithe should be GG now. We're gonna get the clock win. Opponent played
Drop it.
1 new removal spell. Oh, they're on a Galta plan, so they're trying to cast Galta? I guess reanimate with Gix. Okay, at least let me do the clock. That's not cool. The whole point of this is to show it off. Let me see if there's an animation. Let me try to get the claw. I think this hand's fine. We got early removal. So we don't have Millennium Clock this game, so we'll see how it plays out without the clock. Got some Merfolk action. Alright, so we have Get Lost, we have the Spring Load, so we're going to use this at flash speed. This deals combat damage, so we get him there. Enters the battlefield or attacks, create a map token. 3/4, so we can have that afterwards. Could have a counterspell, but if we get a counterspell, it forces it out of them. Ooh, we got clock! Get there! Clocksies! So, Notably, this has Vigilance, which kind of sucks. We're going to do this before attacks. This can counter our ability. It's kind of annoying. They might have counters. I can see them. Like Sunfall should win this. Okay, so Whirling Mist takes him off a lot of the mana here, but notably it does make it worse for me. I'm gonna do this now. I'm just gonna double up now. They can flash this in to double up the trigger or counter the triggers. So I can craft this. Okay, so they have Make Disappear on top. That's worth noting. And they have the flash. So this is probably Teferi. Like, this is kind of annoying. Does this counter a Planeswalker ability? Oh, damn. That's strong. So I think it's like, so I could Teferi. I could Teferi like tap and tap, but I'm short of mana, so I think it's just Seachrome here. Let them flash this in. Because like this is actually pretty solid. So I'm going to do this before they have the Make Disappear here. Kind of get them that way there. I need to kind of draw into Sunfall here. This having Vigilance and that March of Swirling Mist really messed me up. An interesting one. Sack it to counter. Have Make Disappear up. I could play around Make Disappear at least. They have the land. So I want to keep this around another turn, so we'll do this. Untap, tap. We're probably screwed between these two counters because I'm only at 8. Voidian is pretty solid here. I think the tempo flash-oriented version of Merfolk pretty solid. That March really kind of did us in. So they are ignoring. Do this. Gnomes isn't too bad. So tap, tap. tap. They could counter this. Dead either way here now. Because that's craft 4. Ah, that one's tough. Needed one more life. This kind of shutting off your planeswalkers. Because if I could have gained the life, it was okay. The vigilance is what did me in there. If we were able to just like end-step flash in a Wandering Emperor, but I had to kind of time it where Teferi's ability came down. I was hoping that they kind of let that resolve. Mind you, if we drew at any point a sweeper, we're probably okay. Even the stun one. Alright, we'll keep this. Go gnomes! Gnomies! Lunark, life gain. Let's do this, try to find a land. They're probably tokens. I think it's just Otawara here. Just continue to hit land drops. We probably are gonna spring-loaded on the veteran here. Even then, I don't know necessarily if I want to do that. Probably get the Emperor going. Probably just gonna get lost this now just to use my mana. When it dies, scry 1, and then you got that. So it's like black-white nonsense kind of thing. So this goes up to 4. I think it's like Emperor, make a token, make a token. I don't really care about the exile right now. And then like Emperor into Teferi, Teferi either dig for a sweeper, potentially a land. Because if I get Farewell, then I probably win. So it's not really a concern in that manner. Them doing that is fine.
You started this fight, but I'm going to end it. Keep watch for intruders.
So I'm gonna eat this. Like again, the life gain's not huge, but I don't necessarily want to give him a treasure. I don't want to give him a might. Now this does have flying. Okay, so with Farewell, that changes things. Where I do want to just find a land now.
Future looks bright for one of us.
So I do need to make a token here. This will allow me to block.
May your blade strike.
The downside here is Phantom does take out my Wandering Emperor, but I actually think I prefer Teferi. This is actually kind of... Oh, when you activate a craft ability. I thought it would work with Sunfall. We might not end up Sunfalling next turn. We'll see. I probably then shouldn't have done this because the flying gets around it. I should have given them the might.
I'm never done for good.
Okay, there go that. We have access to get lost. I might trade here. Take it. I think then with an open board. Let me see what we hit here. We got the calendar. So I'm at 0, we'll just tap you, untap you.
And some think time only flows in one direction.
Horseman's comes down. So they'll probably try to kill Teferi here. We can maybe set up, like we're kind of getting them committed here. If they don't attack correctly into Teferi, we will use like the Spring Blade. Get him that way there. Get Lost has more flexibility, I think, so we'll hold on to it at this point. Okay, so I should have killed that. I forgot about the Battle Cry ability. This is gonna do a bit more damage than I was anticipating. I should have probably blocked first. So these are just little sequencing things. Like it's for fun, this event, but we want to be mindful. So they get lost their own. It only activates as a sorcery, my friend. Only as a sorcery. They could have just killed my Teferi, but only a sorcery. I want this to die. This dying is fine because they get the might, but they'll just get Sunfalled. They'll just get Sunfalled. I want to leave a number of things behind so that way when we do Sunfall, we get the bigger token. And then Gnome's dying here gains me 3 life. Remember at your end step to also put a counter. Cool. You got a Gancho. This actually taps him out, which is nice. No little tricks. Myrick's going to be kind of annoying because they can just keep activating. Okay, so they could sack a creature. They choose not to. So this turn is just going to be big ol' Sunfall. Drawing all these tap lines really is annoying because I could have activated. But gaining life off Teferi is nice here. Like, they can make Myrex each turn, but I got a 7/7, and I also have Get Lost. And now I can start doubling up counters. You draw your land, you play your land. And now we get Teferi going. So tap you. Oh. Nope. So use an artifact. Tap up to one creature. Untap a land. Go Gnomes. Go Anchorage. Say go. And now the clock. The calendar is coming. Get a big ol' 7/7. We could take a land here, I think. This takes us to 100. Can also just threaten them with lethal. So we got 2 lethals going here. This should be, it's going 200, then 400, then 800. So we don't win next turn necessarily. But we're getting close. Getting close. Got the cottage there. I want to win with this, so we're going to win with this. Technically, I have lethal. But I want to win the cool way. I want to see if there's an animation, basically. So we had lethal there, they had no more creatures. All right, does it have it? Kind of lame. Kind of lame. Thought that, you know, do a little bit cooler of an animation. Alrighty, so we're gonna wrap this one up. I think like blue-eye control in an event where people are kind of playing to the board a lot is an easy way to kind of beat up on them. But let me know what you think. If you're playing Calendar, how you're doing it. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.